All right, guitar improvising tip number 2. Another thing that is so obvious when it is put this way, and yet it's one of the things I hear from my students quite regularly, and I can tell sort of straight away, it's like, okay, here's what's missing. Here is your piece of music that you're going to jam over. It is basically a really cool sounding metronome, right? If somebody put the metronome on without any music and you had to play to it and improvise, everything you would do would have to be in that beat. Some of that was a bit sucky right there. So in other words, you know, you're playing quarter notes, you're playing eighths, a little 16, a little triplet there, a little something. Not all the time, but about 99% of the time, you're going to be doing some sort of a grouping that specifically ties in with the tempo and the groove. So if it doesn't matter what you're doing, how spectacular it might be, if it isn't really in time with what you're playing over, it just doesn't sound good. So everything you do, you think if you're playing rhythm guitar, you know, you'd be 1, 2, everything you do would fall into that kind of a movement. Now exactly the same thing happens with lead. I mean, it might not be doing this movement, but essentially everything you do is going to fall into that. So you need to know that you're locking in all the time. Probably the only time when it seems a bit more obvious that you're not is if you do the kind of satchy slurring, rolling around, you can get away with some more stuff. But even then you tend to come into it and out of it, again, in a kind of phrased timing way. So just make sure, just think when you're playing the lead, and if you're jumping into a track you're not sure about, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're aware, even before you start laying down some ideas, is that, okay, there's the beat, I need to be right in sync with that.